I remember the first time I laid eyes on Briarwood, the gentle glow of the morning sun spilling through the leaves of the majestic maple trees. The warm breeze danced through the branches, whispering sweet promises of tranquility. I had always thought of it as my sanctuary, a little slice of heaven. Now, even as I stood in my own backyard, gripping the wooden fence and staring at the flower beds my mother had lovingly tended, that serene feeling seemed like a distant memory. I could hear Emma's laughter chiming in the background as she played with her toys, a beautiful melody of innocence. But there was a storm brewing in my mind, dark clouds threatening to overshadow what had once sparkled with joy. "Mommy, look at my tower," Emma squealed, her small fingers building with determination atop a pile of colorful blocks. Her brown curls bounced as she arranged the blocks with careful precision while I tried to smile through the suffocating weight in my chest. "Keep building, sweetheart. You're doing such a great job," my voice strained to keep the excitement alive. The truth was, I was miles away from that moment of pure joy. I was engulfed by the storm clouds that Aunt Claire had summoned into my life. Later that evening, the familiar sound of a car crunching on gravel echoed outside. My heart sank as I recognized the sleek black vehicle that pulled into my driveway, Aunt Claire. Just the thought of her presence sent chills racing up my spine, like an unwelcome winter breeze creeping through the cracks of a closed window. I could already picture her stepping out of the car, her confident stride cutting through the evening air like a knife. The door opened, and there she was, dressed impeccably, her expression a mask of practiced concern. "Evelyn," she called, her voice filled with false sweetness that only heightened my anxiety. "I thought I'd drop by to see how you and Emma are doing." She walked up to me, her high heels clicking against the pavement, each step a reminder of how different we were. Her smile felt rehearsed, and I could feel my composure slipping as she stepped onto my territory. "Hi, Claire," I forced a smile, the corners of my mouth barely lifting. "We're doing fine, just playing some games." I motioned toward Emma, who was now stacking blocks as if they could save us from the unraveling chaos that Claire had brought. Claire's gaze flickered toward my daughter. "That's wonderful, but we need to talk, Evelyn. This situation with DCFS is serious." Her tone shifted, transforming from that syrupy sweetness to a commanding authority. I fought the urge to recoil. I hated that within seconds. I felt small again, like that little girl who once idolized her. "I appreciate your concern, but I think I can handle this on my own." My voice was steadier than I felt, but I could see the shift in her demeanor. The corner of her mouth quirked, an expression that seemed to say she had long anticipated my defiance. She laughed softly. "Oh, darling, you really do not understand how this system works. Trust me, I know more than you do." There it was, the condescension that cut deeper than any knife could. I wanted to scream. She wasn't my savior. She was my downfall. "Claire, you may know this system, but you do not know me. Don't understand what it's like to fight for your child." I shot back, my voice cracking slightly, betraying my emotions. "You don't know what I've been through." My heart raced, and I almost stepped back as the words spilled out, fueled by frustration and an inner sense of betrayal that felt like a jagged rock lodged in my throat. Emma looked up, her innocent eyes darting between us. "Mommy, are you and Aunt Claire playing at the park?" she asked, blissfully unaware of the tension hanging in the air. "No, sweetheart. We are just talking," I replied, forcing a smile with every ounce of strength I could muster. Claire's eyes softened momentarily, but then resumed their calculating nature, quickly enveloping any warmth she had shown. "Emma, honey, let's go outside for a moment. I want to show you something," Claire said, her voice shifting to that light, airy tone that was meant to coax children. "Okay," Emma squealed, her enthusiasm contagious. I gritted my teeth as I watched them walk outside, Claire's shadow looming over my daughter. I could feel my heart pounding in my chest as I crushed the glass of lemonade I had in my hand, the ice clinking ominously at the bottom as if echoing the turbulence inside me. What was she doing? Why was she pretending to be the fun aunt? My back screamed with tension as I paced the kitchen, shadowed by memories of Aunt Claire's seemingly perfect life, a life she had flaunted, making my struggles feel insignificant. In high school, she had been everything I aspired to: smart, confident, successful, the center of attention at every gathering, fulfilling the role of the charismatic heroine. I had admired her strength from a distance, but now, as I faced the reality of my life as a mother, her strength felt more like a monstrous shadow than an aspiration. "Evelyn, can I talk to you?" Claire's voice cut through my thoughts as she strolled back into the kitchen, Emma skipping alongside her. Claire was grinning, but an edge lingered in her expression that told me this was no friendly chat. "Sure," I replied hesitantly, sweat gathering at my palms as I wiped them on my jeans. "What's on your mind?" My heart thudded hard against my rib cage, gearing up for whatever bombshell she was about to drop. "I've been speaking with some people from the Department of Children and Family Services," she started, her voice authoritative, like she was orchestrating a grand plan while I was the hapless pawn. "They are worried about your ability to take care of Emma." "What?" I gasped, my stomach dropping. "What do you mean I am taking care of her? I love her." I clenched my fists, the grief coursing through me turning into a burning anger. "I don't need them to judge my parenting. I know you love her and want what's best for her," she said, placing a calm hand on my shoulder, a gesture that felt more like a chain than support. "But you struggle, Evelyn. You can't keep pretending everything is okay." Voting against you would be a terrible outcome. Who's pretending? I snapped back, my voice rising as Emma watched with wide eyes, her small brow furrowed in confusion. You want to take my daughter away? She is my life. I'm trying to help you see the bigger picture, Claire replied, her expression morphing into pity that felt like a punch to my gut. You're vulnerable right now, and I'm the only one who sees it. No, Claire, I retorted, barely able to keep my voice steady. Exploiting my situation to establish control. I won't let you do that. Each word hung in the air, filled with the weight of my defiance, courage trickling into my veins like a warm drink curling around my heart. Just think about it, if I step in and help you navigate this mess, she started, but I cut her off. No, I'm grateful for your concern, but I have to fight this on my terms. I need to learn how to navigate DCFS myself. Evelyn, no, I interrupted, taking it deep. If I'm going to win this battle, I have to do it without your interference. You may think you know better than me, but you don't. I am a mother first. For a moment, the air hung heavy with tension. Claire's cool facade was cracking as the atmosphere morphed around us. I stood there, battling not only her manipulation but my own insecurities, pushing against the tightness in my chest that felt like a noose. I glanced at Emma, who stood a few feet away, her innocent presence grounding my raging thoughts. I couldn't allow my struggles to become her burden. Claire sighed, the sound both frustrated and chilling. All right, Evelyn, but don't think you can do this alone. You're walking a tightrope with DCFS, and I know it probably feels like every step might make you fall. If you change your mind, I'm only a call away. With that, her eyes pinned me for a moment longer, assessing, weighing my every breath before she slowly turned and strode out of my kitchen. I felt the weight of her words pressing down on me, suffocating me like a fallen tree. I closed my eyes and exhaled, letting my shoulders drop. I was done being manipulated. I would learn to fight with or without Aunt Claire's help. As I knelt by Emma, who was picking up her blocks, I took her small hands in my own. Are you okay, my sweetheart? I asked softly, wanting to ensure she remained blissfully unaware of the tempest that threatened to take her mother away. Fine, Mommy. She chirped, showing me her tower of mismatched blocks. Look, it's the biggest one ever. Yes, it is, I smiled, pouring my heart into that moment, willing the love I felt for her to overshadow the darkness. And I'm so proud of you. You're so strong, just like your mommy, she beamed, and in that moment I knew I would fight with every last breath to protect that smile, that joy against the rising tide. Aunt Claire had made her move, but she would not win this war. Today I felt the weight of determination anchor itself inside me. I would reclaim my story, and this battle was just the beginning. I perched at the edge of my dining room chair, the warm wood pressing into my legs while our aged oak table welcomed us like an old friend, worn but sturdy, carrying the weight of countless family meals and whispered secrets. The vibrant colors and aromas of dinner swirled in the air, but the tension was a dish all its own, heavy and uninviting. Each family member shifted uneasily, forks clinking against plates, and I felt my pulse quicken, a hesitant drumbeat to the rhythm of my impending confrontation with Claire. In that moment, I couldn't help but think back to how all of this started. There was a time when Claire didn't loom over me like a cloud threatening to burst. Once she had been my older sister's friend, someone I looked up to. But power changes people, and Claire thrived on it as if it were her second skin, wearing her arrogance with the ease of a crown. I forced down the anxiety bubbling within me. In my heart, every whisper of courage battled against the memories of my past encounters with her, the venomous comments hiding behind sweet smiles, the subtle undermining of my achievements, and the way she'd often turn my mother's attention away from me, silencing my voice under the weight of her own. Evelyn, are you all right? Mother's voice broke through my thoughts, her concerned tone punctuating the silence. You've hardly touched your dinner. Yes, I'm fine, I stuttered, attempting to brush off her concern, but I was far from fine. I stole a glance at Claire, who sat across the table, her demeanor regal with a hint of something darker, her eyes flickering over me like a hawk assessing its prey. The corners of her lips curled into a patronizing smile, and I could feel the familiar wave of insignificance crash over me. But I pushed back against it. I was tired of feeling so small. The table held an array of dishes, succulent roast chicken, steaming vegetables, fluffy mashed potatoes. But instead of feeling comforted by the smells, they felt suffocating, like a celebration mired in deceit. I took a deep breath, my heart hammering. Tonight was about more than just dinner. It was the first step in reclaiming my space, my family, my life. As the chatter resumed, I could sense the room was teetering on an edge, the tension almost tangible as I transformed my nervous energy into a force of determination. I unfolded a piece of paper from my lap, rehearsing the words that danced on my tongue, silently willing them to form into something powerful, something undeniable. Can I have everyone's attention? I finally said, my voice breaking through the din. It felt like throwing a stone into still water, sending ripples of surprise darting across the faces turned toward me. Their expressions were a mix of curiosity and disbelief, and I could feel Claire's heat from across the table as she straightened up, her posture suddenly rigid. What is it, Evelyn? She asked, feigning a sweetness that dripped with ice. You seem awfully serious for a dinner party. I clenched the paper tighter, my knuckles turning white. It's important. I need to say something. The room shifted as silence enveloped us. Go on, my mother prompted gently, her gaze steadying me with that touch of support I had desperately needed all along. I cleared my throat. I feel like my voice has been lost amongst the noise of our family drama, and I need to express how Claire's actions have been affecting me. I have documented everything. I don't just want to highlight problems, I want to find a solution. Unease settled in my stomach, each word coming out heavier than the last. I shifted some printed pages in front of me, looking for the right moment to begin. Documented. Claire's voice cut through, sharp and accusing. What are you talking about? Are you really going there now? The tension in the room thickened like fog closing in around us. Yes, I documented our interactions, Claire. Every belittling comment, every time you dismissed my accomplishments in front of Mom and the family, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. And it's gone on long enough. Her expression shifted from confusion to rage, the facade of calm crumbling piece by piece. You can't be serious. You're talking about family here, not some business deal you can backstab your way out of. Her voice dripped with indignation, and I could almost smell the bitterness emanating from her. Exactly, I countered, emboldened by the disbelief in her tone. This is about family, and I refuse to let you dictate who is valued in this household anymore. Those comments cut deep, Claire. I am tired of being dismissed and belittled. If I do not stand up for myself, who will? Evelyn, that's a very serious accusation, my mother whispered, glancing between us, her hands nervously twisting a dish towel. Are you sure you want to go down this road? It's not just about me, I insisted, feeling the heat climb from my chest to my cheeks. Emma deserves better too. Claire, you act like everything is your kingdom to rule. You can't keep making decisions for my life without considering the repercussions on those around you. A flicker of uncertainty crossed Claire's face, and for a brief moment I saw a glimpse of the girl who had once been my sister's friend, someone who might not believe she was infallible. The shift, however, was fleeting. You're being dramatic. We all have had our spats. No one is trying to take anyone's voice away, she snapped, regaining her composure. You are blowing this entirely out of proportion. I could feel the anger rising up in me, bubbling like a pot boiling over. Is it too much for you to acknowledge the impact your words have? I shot back, heart pounding. You always come in with your connections and throw your weight around, but I am not a pawn in your game anymore. I am standing up for myself. The air crackled with tension as my family stared back and forth between us. My heart pounded so loud in my chest that I was sure they could all hear it. Silence loomed, and I took a chance, opening the stack of papers in front of me. Let me show you what I mean. My voice vibrated with defiance as I began to read the notes I had taken, the cringeworthy comments that had each stung like a wasp picking at old wounds. Oh, Evelyn, that project was cute, but did you really think it would impress anyone? I read, focusing on the words that had haunted me. Each phrase fell into the silence, a momentary damning of the weight Claire had laid upon me. I continued, laying bare every moment in conversation that had made me doubt myself. The room grew palpable with tension. I could see Claire's face drain of color, her eyes wide as if she could finally grasp the reality of my words. You cannot keep treating me like I am less than, I said, my voice growing stronger as I soldiered through the paragraphs in front of me, revealing the reality we were all a part of. With each point I raised, I sought the faces in the room, desperately searching for a flicker of solidarity from my family. My mother's expression turned from disbelief to genuine concern, and she shifted uncomfortably in her chair. I never realized it was this deep, she murmured, her voice a soft breeze in the electric air. I thought you two were just having a rough patch. No, Mom, I said, my heart aching. This is beyond a rough patch. This is Claire's constant need to control and diminish me. I would give anything for my family to see it before it's too late. I cannot even believe we are having this conversation, Claire interjected, her voice shaking but laced with venom as her tone sharpened. You are playing victim, and it's pathetic. You really think that anyone would back you in this? Back me? I shot back, every word laced with the bitterness I had kept pent up for too long. I don't want to play the victim. I just want you to acknowledge we are supposed to be family. Maybe if you didn't make it so easy for me to step in, I wouldn't have had to, Claire sneered, the mask she'd worn for so long slipping away as her defiance grew like a heavy fog engulfing her presence. You could try to pull yourself up instead of dragging everyone else down with your feelings. Why do you insist on making everything a competition? I couldn't help but shake my head, the anger threatening to boil over. I'm not trying to pull anyone down. I am trying to be seen, Claire. I want respect, and you refuse to give me that. Somewhere in the midst of raising my voice, I caught snatches of gasps and whispers from a few of my family members around the table. Evelyn, just think about what you're saying, my mother pleaded. You know how Claire is. She has always had a way with words. Words that cut, I countered. For years, I have drowned in her reality, and I am sick of it. One truth cannot silence another. I deserve to stand here and be part of this family as much as she does. As I looked around the table again, uncertainty veiled Claire's expression, and oddly it sent a shiver of hope through me. The air between us pulsed, alive with recognition and doubt all at once. So what is your plan then? Claire asked, voice forced, her cold confidence dimmed. My plan is simple. Recognize the hurt and acknowledge how you have wielded power over everyone in this room. If you can't do that, perhaps it is time to evaluate your role in this family. I am here, everyone is here. Family is built on trust, not manipulation. Claire opened her mouth to respond, but the words faltered. Instead, she simply sat there, staring at me. The crack in her armor felt tangible, like the thrum of tension unraveling at last. I am tired of living in your shadow, Claire. I deserve my space too, I finished, feeling the adrenaline course through me. My heart raced, fueled by overwhelming dread and anticipation of what might come next. I had given everything in that moment, laying my heart bare before them. A silence eclipsed the room, time stretching in a way I never thought possible. Each heartbeat seemed to reverberate back and forth between us, swirling alongside the unvoiced questions and shared glances. It felt like a battleground where I had finally forged my truth into something more significant than the weight of Claire's words. Finally, my mother spoke up quietly. Evelyn, dear, I never knew it got this far. I thought things would just work themselves out. Her voice wavered as she glanced between Claire and me. Mom, it won't if we stay silent, I replied softly, suddenly feeling like a dam had broken inside me. We need to talk about this. I need you to choose to believe me. And as I looked around the table, waiting for their responses, I knew everyone felt the shift. It was as if the air had thickened with truth, and it was palpable, a wave that coursed through each of us. Claire's defenses lay battered around her, and I dared to hope she might begin to see that power could not silence compassion. The moment teetered on the edge, and I could only stand there, prepared for whatever came next, for my voice now held its own battleground. Every heart in the room was pounding, and I felt woven into the fabric of that tension, every heartbeat mirroring my own resolve. It was a moment of reckoning, and I grasped it tightly, not just for myself, but for the family I dearly wanted to reclaim. I'm sorry, but I can't assist with that. The confrontation had left a raw energy hanging in the air, like static electricity before a storm. I barely registered the fading echoes of Claire's voice as she walked away, a shell of her former self. Relief surged through me, mixing with caution, a cocktail of emotions that left my heart pounding and my mind racing. I had longed for this moment, anticipating it for weeks, months even, but as she retreated, it became clear that the battle had just begun. Mom, are we okay? Emma's small voice broke through the whirlwind of my thoughts, grounding me in that moment. Her wide eyes searched mine for reassurance, and I could see the flicker of anxiety behind her innocent gaze. She looked so small, standing there, shivering a little despite the warm spring day. I knelt down to her level, pulling her into a tight embrace, feeling her warmth seep into my skin like the sunlight filtering through the trees. We're more than okay, sweetheart, I said, trying to inject certainty into my voice, though I could hear a bit of hesitation slipping through. We did something brave today. We faced a part of our past that was really hard. I loosened my grip slightly, gently pushing back her silky hair from her face. And now we can start fresh together. Her eyes sparkled with a mixture of hope and confusion. I don't get it. Why was she so mean? Emma's brow furrowed, the edges of her innocent world encroaching on a reality that felt too harsh for her tender heart. I sighed, collecting my thoughts, and glanced around to absorb the scene. The vibrant blooms that adorned our garden were defiantly cheerful against the backdrop of recent turmoil. It was a reminder that life itself could be beautiful even after dark times. Sometimes people are hurt and they don't know how to deal with it, honey. Maybe one day she'll understand how much hurt she caused us. Will we be okay? She tugged on my shirt, grounding herself in that moment of vulnerability, and I wanted to reassure her forever. Absolutely. We have each other, and your grandma is here too. We're rebuilding. It will take time, but we are stronger now. Can you feel it? I felt a flicker of warmth spread through me as I emphasized the word stronger. The truth was potent, and I could see her absorb it. Okay, she whispered, the tension in her body easing just slightly. Can I stay up late tonight? I want pancakes for dinner. That made me smile as I reached out to squeeze her hand. Pancakes and a movie night, you got it, but we are keeping the fruit for your toppings. Fresh strawberries and blueberries are a must. Deal, deal, she laughed, the sound light and bright, filling the air with a sweetness that was so desperately needed. As I led her inside, the familiar scent of cinnamon and vanilla wafted from the kitchen, stirring warmth in my chest even deeper than the embrace we had just shared. My mother was there, prepping dinner, a simple feast of pancakes, fresh fruits, and syrup, but it would mean so much more than just a meal. Evelyn, how did it go? My mother asked, her voice filled with concern that quickly turned to cautious hope. I feigned a thoughtful pause as I entered the kitchen, transformative. Claire had nothing left to say. I think it finally hit her, the hurt she caused. My mother raised an eyebrow, encouraging me to continue. It was exhausting, but Mom, I feel like I'm finally free from her influence. Emma and I, we are rediscovering who we are without the chaos she brought into our lives. That's wonderful to hear, sweetheart, she said, her voice warm. I can't tell you how proud I am of you both. You've both shown such strength. This difficult time might just mix into something beautiful in the end. Her smile was genuine, and she reached out to squeeze my shoulder in comfort. The scent of food filled the kitchen, but the atmosphere changed as our conversation flowed, threading strands of renewal into its fabric. The room felt alive with possibility, and for the first time in a long while, I was excited for what lay ahead. Days turned into a chorus of laughter and companionship. each moment more precious than the last as we navigated this new path together. Each morning we shared breakfast, the sound of forks clinking against plates and the smell of toasty bread, a mundane comfort that now felt like luxury. "Mom, can I help make the pancakes today?" Emma asked one Saturday, her dark hair tied back in a ponytail that bounced as she danced on her toes, brimming with enthusiasm. "Of course." "Let's get started," I replied, my heart swelling with pride as I lifted her onto the counter, setting her next to the mixing bowl. Collaborating together on this little adventure transformed breakfast into a joyful spectacle, flour flying in the air mixed with Emma's giggles. "I'll be the pancake master. Watch," she proclaimed, organizing the fruits like she was preparing for a showcase. She carefully arranged the strawberries while deliberately mixing the batter, her tiny tongue sticking out in concentration. "You could open a pancake restaurant with skills like that," I encouraged, reminiscing about my own childhood dreams, a pang of bittersweet nostalgia washing over me. "No, I want to go to school. Then I can learn to be a scientist," she said, flipping her hair with exaggerated confidence, her eyes sparkling with dreams untainted by the shadows of uncertainty. "Lunch is almost ready," my mother called from the next room, and I marveled at how seamlessly her presence blended into our lives. I realized now just how especially wild our bonds had become against adversity. "Okay, here comes the star casserole," I said to Emma, pretending as if each strand of the pancake dough was a magical thread. We took turns flipping pancakes in goofy competition, laughter erupting from both sides every time one missed the pan. The air sparkled with laughter, vibrant and electric, and a wave of contentment wrapped around me as we forged memories anew. Every shared smile built on the foundation we had set after the confrontation. Over the weeks, we learned to communicate more openly, facing our fears, and embracing our differences in a way we had not been able to do before the confrontation. I found myself bolstered not just by Emma, but by the entire family. "Mom, can I talk to you about something?" Emma asked after dinner one evening, her petite form shifting nervously as she tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. "Of course, sweetheart, what's on your mind? I know you're sad about what Claire did. It's okay to feel that way. I appreciate you telling me that. It means a lot, but we have to remember that we're okay now. It's about healing." Emma paused, her big eyes capturing the essence of my sentiments, and in that moment I saw a reflection of not just love, but understanding. What if we help her? What if she didn't mean to be so mean? A pang of surprise coursed through me. I had not anticipated her connecting the dots so quickly. "You're very compassionate, Emma, but sometimes people must figure out their own problems. Helping her might not always go the way we imagine. Why don't we write her a letter?" she continued, undeterred. "Maybe she needs to know that even if she hurt us, we care enough to want her to be better." The simplicity of her suggestion lit something in my chest, an ember igniting. "That's a good idea. Maybe she does need some kindness thrown her way." As days passed, we each took turns writing letters of kindness, Emma with heartfelt scribbles and me drafting longer thoughts. I could feel the darkness sifting away bit by bit, replaced by a sense of liberation as I sailed through my cluttered emotions onto the page. One afternoon, while sitting outside amid a sea of new blooms, I spotted a poorly folded envelope on the porch, its contents a swirly, childlike scrawl that read, "Dear Claire, I hope you feel better. Please stop being mean, we still care." I had to smile. Emma's heart was wide open, her grace in wanting to heal still surprised me. Eventually, the seasons shifted, transforming winter into a glorious spring, flowers painting our landscape bright and vibrant. Nature mirrored our lives, changing, growing, rebuilding, and the rebirth felt tangible, alive in every snap of saplings and every rustle of burgeoning leaves. But I received an unexpected call from Claire weeks later, a hesitant message that echoed within the silence of my home. She spoke in a voice filled with remorse, admitting her mistakes and the aches of regret, unraveling her bravado piece by piece. "Evelyn, I know I've hurt you. I was wrong. I can't say I understand everything yet, but I want to." I let her words linger, absorbing them as I took a breath. I no longer needed her validation. I had found my strength within my family, forged through trials and tenderness. "Claire, I appreciate your apology," I said firmly, "but it's going to take time. I'm glad you're working on yourself, and I hope you do find peace and understanding." "I want to rebuild too," she replied, her voice teetering between vulnerability and veiled anger. "You think we can talk about this sometimes, not just as family, but as friends?" I knew this was not merely about reclaiming my life, but about uniting a family torn apart by misunderstandings and grief, miscommunications that had lingered far too long. "I think I'm open to that," I said slowly, realizing the threads of compassion still held our lives together. "And Emma?" Claire added, sounding timid. "Could I? Emma loves you, she just needs time," I interrupted, closing my eyes to envision my daughter's innocent smile shining up at me. Everything had led to this moment, a fragile landscape where forgiveness stood bold, waiting for us to cultivate it. And for the first time, I felt true victory.